Hi, everybody. It's episode 491 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Hi.
How's everything?
Oh,
It's thing.
peachy.
You guys, we were just talking about it, but like, you guys are enjoying all the rain and wind and all that fun stuff?
I was thinking as we were starting, it would have been really good idea to set up my my battery prior to today. My battery outlet prior to today.
Wait, you've had that thing for like 2 weeks and you haven't set it up yet?
No, it needs to be plugged in for 8 hours before anything else gets plugged into it.
Wait, really?
That's what it says, at least. I don't know if like it actually needs to, but like that's what it says, to like charge the battery first and then plug it in.
Huh. So I've never read the instructions for one of those, and I have never done that before.
It's just, that's what it says on the top. So like it's more of like I don't have the plug space, right? Like I do have the plug space, but like I haven't plugged it in to charge it, and then like to have to rework wires. I know what's going to be plugged into the battery. There's only 4 battery ports, and so what's going to be plugged in is my PC, my work PC.
Man, fuck your work PC.
What was it? My PC, my work PC, my PS5, and one of my monitors.
I say
like my personal
your work
monitor.
PC out of it. Put your if you can like run a cable somehow, plug your modem into it so that you don't lose internet if power goes out.
Oh, that's what it was. It wouldn't actually. It wasn't my monitor. It would have been probably would have still been my monitor, but it would have been the router. The problem is the modem is on the other side of the house. I need to get a separate UPS just for my modem because it's on the other side of the house from where all like my electronics are. I'm already running a friggin' 100-foot long Ethernet cable across my house. But
right, so isn't your modem behind your TV?
Well, no, my modem was in the front corner of the house, which is where my TV used to be. Yeah, my TV's not there anymore.
Wait, where's your TV now?
My TV's now right behind me on the back corner.
So you're in the corner where that little closet is, right? Facing the door.
Where the closet. I face the door. I'm in the closet. The TV's in front of the bookshelf.
Oh,
the modem is still on the other side of the house where it originally was, because that's where the wires come in from. So I need to keep the modem over there, but the router is over here by me because it has multiple ports, and so this way I could directly plug in my PC, my work PC, into the router.
So I knew that you had like rearranged your desk. I didn't realize you had rearranged like the TV too, because it's always kind of been in that same spot for the most part.
I mean, it used to be it used to be where it is now, but then I moved it to there, pretty much when, I don't know when I moved it over to where it was. At one point, one day, I was just like, I want to move this. And then I moved it, and then I moved it again because there was no space how it was before. And so the only way to have the TV be able to be set up is to have it behind me in front of the bookshelf and still have space in this living room. Like, there's a lot more movement space. I can do ring fit easily when I do ring fit and whatnot by rearranging.
So what you're saying is you have room for activities.
Yes, exactly. Room for activities and just room to move around. And like, if we were to, I don't know, record in person or something, like there's definitely space to like move around and be comfortable. And like, if I ever get back to doing bonus action, which I want to try to do at some point, it's actually going to be comfortable to record and not going to just be tight and closed in and jumping around each other.
I'll believe that when I say it.
What? I want to get back?
Yeah, that you want to do bonus action.
I do. I just gotta find the time.
This is unrelated for you, Rich. But what were the two Godzilla, like there were 2 Godzilla movies, one that you couldn't watch at all and one that was on like the Internet Archive, right?
Yeah, the one that was on the archive was Godzilla vs. Biollante, and the one that I couldn't watch at all was like Monster Island. I have to look it up. I know which one it was. Why, do you have the name of it? Do you have a name of them or something?
No. So I was talking to somebody on a Discord that they said they're getting ready to basically do what you did. Though not in like chronological order, like they plan to like jump around a little bit. And I had mentioned that like I knew someone that watched all of them chronologically, except for like the one that you couldn't watch. And they said that they apparently managed to get every single one of the movies digitally. So I'm curious if they actually have those 2.
So it was All Monsters Attack, I believe.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that...
Monster Attack released Japan. It was a kid growing up, and yeah, every time he comes home. Yeah, it's where he's friends with Baby Godzilla, and yeah, that one. That's what it was. All Monsters Attack. I couldn't find that one, but also, like, the movie's kind of just, like, in this kid's mind. It's like a dream.
Oh, it's that one. I remember you talking about it.
It's like a dream thing, yeah. So I was like, I wasn't really interested. Like, if I could find a way to watch it, I definitely would. I couldn't find a reasonable way to watch it.
I might be able to get you a copy of it digitally.
I mean, yeah, if you can, I will watch it. So I can officially say. Apparently it's free on Tubi, so...
Oh.
Yeah, let's see. It was... Yeah, it's free available on Tubi, on Sling, and on Crackle. And I can rent it on Apple, and Prime. It's a subscription on Prime, so, watch with Max.
Well, never mind.
Oh, so maybe it's available on HBO now.
Maybe, are you sure that's the one that you didn't watch then?
Yeah, that's absolutely the one I didn't watch, for sure.
Okay, then.
Almost. Yeah, I guess I gotta watch it now. It's available on Max.
I remember you kind of going over the plot of that one, though. So I remember you talking about, like, one of them just kind of being, like, imaginary.
Yeah, one of them, it's that one, I'm pretty sure. Because, like, I actually remember watching it when I was a kid. And, like, Godzilla's trying to teach baby Godzilla how to, like, do his atomic breath and stuff like that. And, like, at one point he, like, steps on his tail, and that's how he learns how to do it. So he's trying to teach him again, so Godzilla steps on his tail again. And it's a weird one. It's a weird one, and I was like, yeah, I don't really want to watch it. But maybe I'll give it a watch, to see if I remember actually watching this one or not. But I'm 99% sure that was it. It would either be that one or Son of Godzilla, but I don't think it was Son of Godzilla.
No, I kind of remember you talked about that one, too, and I feel like you talked about that one in a I watched it kind of way.
Giant praying mantises, yeah, I'm reading the synopsis. I definitely watched Son of Godzilla. And then Destroy All Monsters was the one where it was all of them, which I watched. I think.
You watched so many you don't even remember anymore.
Yeah. I watched Destroy All Monsters. Yeah, it was All Monsters Attack. It was definitely All Monsters Attack. Well, look, it's 30-something films, even more now. It's 33 Japanese films and 6 English films. Or American films. Well, 5 American films right now. 6 later this year.
That's too many.
No, it's not enough. I've honestly been considering going back and watching them all again.
Do it. Just do it.
But, like, that would mean some of them I would still have to re-rent. Because it's only the original era that Max has. Only the Showa era. They don't have the re-review others. Except for all of the MonsterVerse stuff. Which also, all the MonsterVerse stuff is on... Is that on Netflix as well right now? But it's probably already left by now. Which is weird.
Wait, MonsterVerse stuff?
Yeah, Godzilla and Kong and stuff like that.
Oh, is that what they call that?
Yeah, that's the MonsterVerse.
So when you said MonsterVerse, I was thinking of, like, the Universal monsters that, like, they tried to reboot and it failed real hard.
No. It's the legend. They call the legendary stuff the MonsterVerse.
Well, Rich, what's on the agenda?
On the agenda, we all watched this honestly interesting movie called Remember on Netflix. It was, I believe, Japanese.
It was.
Cobb, you watched Loudermilk. Who knows? I played a game called My Friendly Neighborhood. And Cobb, you read Sky's End by Marc J Gregson. It's a book.
It is a book. I put that there. I put that there so you didn't think it was like a comic or something.
No, I would assume if you put, like, the actual author, that it'd be a book.
So when I put the parentheses, I actually hadn't put the author's name yet. So, but yeah, what did you guys think of Remember?
I went into it a little skeptical of, like, I'm probably not gonna like this because I'm not big into horror and I don't really have, like, a reference of Japanese horror, but, like, the thing I wish I did is watched it subtitled. Because I just watched it, I just turned it on and watched it and it automatically played dubbed and I was just too lazy to fix that.
Oh, I tried watching it dubbed because I didn't want to watch it subtitled. Oh my god, the dubbing was so bad.
Yeah, the dub was bad. We did watch the whole thing dubbed.
Dubbing in general is bad because, like, when you're watching something, you can, even though, like, it is still a projected voice and usually it's, like, they'll re-record lines from time to time, but you can usually still tell where the voice is coming from when it's the normal audio. But anything that just gets dubbed over is literally an ominous voice for every character that just comes at you.
Yeah, but also like the sync was off. It had the like bad old movie. The lips aren't matching.
Yeah, they didn't do a good job with that.
What they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, like, I watched all the Godzillas, even though it was all in Japanese, and I've watched anime. I'm used to bad lip syncing. Even Japanese anime still has relatively rough lip syncing, so like that didn't. Like, it was bad at times. It was noticeably bad at times, but like it was comfortable enough, or like the camera to me was a little bit far enough away to where like the lip syncing wasn't that bad, because like the characters were always moving or walking around, and they weren't stationary as often as you would think for it to throw you off and be focused right on their faces as they're talking. But I can definitely, like I said, I wish I watched it subbed, because I thought the dubbing was off. But other than that, I thought like the lore of it was a very anime movie, in my opinion, very anime. And like the lore of the movie,
there was even an anime theme song halfway through the fucking movie.
They had a beach episode.
Yeah, but like legit, like at that midpoint of the movie when they got the radios and they were all like the little montage sequence, like they played a fucking anime opening theme too. Like,
yeah, they had the montage. Like, it was an interesting lore, an interesting kind of monster and story in general. It definitely, I don't know if I had watched it subbed, I would have felt better about it. It definitely isn't a movie that I'd sit there and like be like, I want to watch this again. But it is a movie that like I guess normally when I'm thinking whether or not I think a movie is good, it's more of would I watch it if it's on TV or not. And it's one of those movies where if there was nothing else on, I'd watch it.
Yeah, and it's one of those movies where you're not going to get much from watching it a second time, I don't think. Like, so watching it through once, you kind of get the whole gist of it. So then, like, watching it dubbed definitely hurt it a little bit, but I could see, like, what they were going for just in, like, the visuals and all, and, like, what story they did localize. And I'm going to be honest, I forgot this was a time loop movie. Mm-hmm. Even though that's the entire reason I picked it. Like,
you forgot it was a time loop movie while watching it? Or you forgot
while watching it. So, like, we put it on. I'm just like, yeah, it's for book club. And we're watching it, and everyone gets murdered, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is, like, one of those movies where, like, we just watched, like, the first 20 minutes, and they kill all these students, and now it's going to jump ahead to, like, 2 years later, and it's going to be a new group of students. And then the girl wakes up in bed, and I'm like, oh, right, time loop. Right.
So you just goofed, and it wasn't like, oh, this is good storytelling. I thought you meant like midway through the movie, you just forgot that they were looping over and over and over.
No, it's like 20 minutes in. I'm just like, right, this is a time loop movie. Fuck.
Yeah.
But like, I think what they did with the time loop stuff was actually a little more interesting than it could have been. Like the idea that they're just going to loop until the body's found, but also, if they get actually destroyed or consumed by the monster, they disappear from reality.
Yeah.
And once it's over, they forget about everything. Like, added that, like, layer of, like, oh, that's interesting.
So that is one thing that I don't know if I missed or misunderstood when it came to finishing off the whole body search. Is like, yes, I understand if they all would have been eaten, the body search would have been over, and all of their, and, like, they never would have existed. That's the way I'm taking it. But, like, when the body search was over after she got the head there, everyone was back to life. And that's what confused me. Because I was like, I thought if you got eaten during the body search, your existence gets erased.
So I think it only gets erased in the loop. So then you end up... It's basically like you're out of the game. You now have less people to win the game with.
Yeah.
Because I got the impression, so at one point, so this has happened before, because the teacher knows about it, and he was in one. That's how we find out that once it's over, you forget everybody.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. It's like, yes, they they get brought back, but they don't have any of the memories. So, like, for the one girl that, like, we follow initially, Asuka, I want to say her name was?
Yeah, something like that.
She had no friends. Like, she was alone. And, like, that was how she ended up making friends, was, like, reliving this day over and over again and being murdered with the same people over and over again. Because, like you said, Rich, at one point, like, they're doing so well that they just say, fuck it, we're just going to go to the beach today. We'll die later.
Yeah.
And they go to the beach.
Yeah, and like, look, I totally get it. If you're living in a time loop where, like, you're going to die no matter what unless you complete the loop, and you just want to have a fuck-off day, and then die that night and not complete the loop, then just do it. You know you're gonna die, so...
Yeah, and
go have a fuck-off day.
Even if you don't die, and, like, you just don't go back to the school and everything, like, the day's just gonna repeat anyway. So, like, no harm, no foul.
I think that's like, they have to die for it to loop. Or, I mean, not have to die for it to loop, but I think, like, there's no way they would survive without the loop. Like, when they fell asleep the first night, they woke up at midnight at the school.
Oh, that's right. They weren't just out late. Like, they actually got, like, teleported to the school.
Yeah.
Right. I forgot that's kind of how it, like, started. Yeah. But, like, so I think both of you guys may have played the game. At PAX a few years ago, we played a game called Hako Ona. Does that ring any bells?
I vaguely remember you guys. I vaguely remember playing that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was something that, like, we had just gotten out of, like, the library one of the days, and this movie reminded me of that game, which was based on, like, a Japanese, like, horror story, essentially, where in the game you're, like, a group of, like, investigators or something like that in this mansion where, like, a child had been killed. And the object of the game is one person is the child demon thing, and their mission is to sneak around this mansion and turn the other players into little, like, monsters also, or to make it so that the players can't possibly win. And the humans are supposed to either kill the spirit by finding its weakness, find the secret exit and get out of the place, or bring peace by, I think, like, putting her back. It wasn't putting her back together, but it was, like, getting her, like, an item from her life or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it very much reminded me of that, of, like, this creature hunting them down while they're trying to, like, basically put the thing's soul to rest.
Yeah.
The one thing as far as, like, the movie goes, though, so at one point they say that the head was never found, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So since they found the head, does that mean that, like, this will never happen again?
That raises... I don't think so. Because the other teacher had been through the loop.
Exactly. So that was the thing. It's like, all right, so they have some sort of memory of this, but, like, how, first of all, it seems like everybody else is actually gone from his time. So I'm wondering if, like, it's a thing where once you're down to one person, it just ends. Like some sort of, like, twisted fucking game show.
I doubt it, because, like, then it would have ended with the lead character having not had to finish the body. It would have just been there, or unless, like, she still has to die, but she would have woken up and it would have been the same day, but just her friends wouldn't have been there, and she would have
that's more what I'm thinking.
Remembered or something. But no, I think to me, the original body was never, or the original head, the head of the little girl was never found. And so I think maybe you are right now that I'm talking about it, but past body searches, you needed to find all the body.
Yeah, so
and once you found all the body parts, it was done, and even including the head. But now this time is different because they actually found the head in the house for real. So that's why maybe it changed into the evil version of itself. Because if they had succeeded, then it never would have happened again. And so they succeeded. And so maybe I don't know. That's one of those, like, horror lores where it's like it can be taken in either way, because you want the thought of, oh, this could happen again. That's part of the horror. That's part of the scare. This could happen to anyone. This could happen again. But at the same time, you want the satisfaction of a viewer of they completed it. They finished it. So it's like, it's one of those, like, left to interpretation kind of thing.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe I just missed something with the dub also. Like, it's possible that at some point in the sub, like, it was a little more... Because even with subtitles, like, Netflix is notorious for not having great subtitles on their shows either. So it's entirely possible that that wasn't localized real well either, and if we were to watch it in Japanese and understand it, maybe there was, like, context that, like, we just weren't picking up. But yeah, it just had me thinking, because the teacher remembers the thing happening, doesn't remember any of the people that did it with him, though. And it's not like he forgot their time together, he doesn't remember them.
Which, like, the one thing, like, he didn't remember until they started bringing it up or something like that.
No, because he was, like, suspicious right away.
Because, like, what did he say? He was like, I didn't remember till something.
I thought he said he didn't remember the one person, because he was talking about, like, a name in a notebook.
No, he didn't remember the actual event until he found that book. And then he found that book and saw the name of his former lover or whoever. Yeah. And it was like, I can't remember them. I just remember I had strong feelings for them. Which to me makes me think also, and this is contradictory to what I just said, that it turned into the evil monster version with them as well. And
that's like the final boss. Once you have everything but the head, it becomes like a monster.
It ate all of them except him, and he was able to survive somehow. And so everybody else was erased from existence except him for some reason. But whereas in our story, everyone else was erased from existence, but then came back. So it's I don't like that's where like it lost me a little bit. Like it was a little bit of a confusing.
But you know what? Like,
situation at that
what you
point.
just said about him remembering when he found the notebook. That's I hadn't thought about this at the time while watching it, but that was just foreshadowing for the end where she drops the guy's tie clip, and that makes them both remember.
Yeah.
So, like, that was foreshadowing of, like, an item that you had that meant something during the thing can trigger your memories to come back. And I think, like, the reason his were still so foggy is it had probably been a longer time, and those people didn't exist anymore. But, like, for them, it had, like, just happened, and they all existed again.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Drew, how much did you hate the movie?
I mean, kind of a lot. I'm going to steal a quote from, or steal a line from Gilmore Girls. It's not my taste, but I respect the attempt.
That's fair. Yeah, and you know what? Like, I appreciate that, because it's one of those, like, yes, like, this is not something you would watch on your own, but at least, like, you can see what they were going for.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
I think, like, horror movie wise, like, the Japanese horror movies tend to, like, work for some weird reason.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they lean into slightly different tropes and not quite as heavily.
Yeah,
there definitely were some moments where it was like, why the fuck are you still just standing there? You wouldn't just stop, run, go, fucking what are you doing?
my favorite thing. It made me laugh so much was during the final fight with the beast form. And, like, she's about to get eaten. And the other girl grabs the chainsaw. And instead of going and cutting its head off, she chops the arm of the beast that was that was holding her friend. Like, why wouldn't you just cut her head off? Or cut the beast's head off at this point?
Or even more so, like, in the ending, like, when it's just the two of them, they're back in the room getting ready to go put the head into the casket thing, and the monster comes around the corner, and the guy gives her the head and tells her to go, and she just stands there for, like, 4 minutes doing nothing. It's like, they might not have died, although it obviously didn't wind up mattering in the end, but if you just ran and put the head on instead of just standing there.
Yeah, like, and that is one of the worst parts about horror movies, but at the same time, like, I can't say for sure that I wouldn't be frozen in, like, shock or whatever if something like that happened, you know?
I mean, the very first time, sure, it's like, okay, I don't know what this is, I don't know what to do. When you've experienced the thing enough, that fight or flight becomes you don't get frozen. Like, she should not just be frozen standing there when told to run. It's not like a thing she doesn't know is coming after them.
Listen,
that
Drew,
is true.
You have not died 100 times in a time loop. You don't know how scared you're gonna be or not gonna be.
I wish I knew how long they were in the time loop.
One day, like the.
I would say it was a decent amount of time. Like I wouldn't say like it definitely wasn't like a week. I would say it was like to become friends as close as they seemed they were. It would take time. It would take at least I would say at least a month.
And also to just to be able to just make fun of the situation the way they were. Like when they hit underwater in the pool. And then, like, immediately after they get out, the one girl, like, pretends to drown.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucked up.
But it's like, oh, yeah, it's our lives right now. So, it was definitely long enough for them to know, long enough for them to understand, like, we're just gonna die. That's it. Like, we're not gonna get this done today. We're going to die. And, like, to me, in my head, in my brain, like, the way I was thinking, you can't finish the body search with somebody dead because then they won't come back to life because they'll have died. But obviously that's wrong based on the end of the movie unless like things worked out differently for them. So like to me it would be like, all right, well we know we're gonna die. We're not gonna finish it tonight. We're just finding the body parts, assuming that that's the thing. Did they have to find all the body parts every night?
I got the impression that they stayed.
Yeah, it was the body parts stayed, everything except whatever they haven't found. Like, all the body parts they found stayed, so it's like, okay. Then it's just like, alright, once we find the last body part, if everyone's alive, we return it to the casket. Otherwise, we die and do it again tomorrow, because it's probably always going to be in the same spot. Except for the head, which was in the doll.
Right, exactly. And so... no, never mind, because that chapel place was under construction, right? So no one was supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm like, and like, how did nobody else notice this casket with, like, you know, mummified pieces of, like, a dead child in it?
But it's not even that, because at the end, they were going to the chapel to do their festival preparation. So people are going to the chapel.
That's true. That is true.
So maybe it was it was one of those like only they can see it kind of things, or it's only there.
Yeah, maybe it only appears at midnight
times or whatever. Yeah,
I don't know. Lot of questions.
Yeah, but it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I had a good time with it too. Like I like Japanese horror movies. I don't watch a lot of them, but like any ones that I've ever seen, I'm always like, you know what, that was good. Like
yeah,
it's usually not scary. Like, it doesn't have, like, jump scares the way, like, Western movies tend to try for. But it's got good creep factor, usually.
See, that's the thing. Like, I when it comes to scary movies, creepy and atmosphere doesn't fully do it for me. I need the jump scares. Jump scares is what scares me. Creepiness and atmospheric stuff, like, and monsters do not scare me. I need the jump scares, or honestly, I need stuff that can happen actually in real life to scare me.
Like this.
I've said, yeah, absolutely. No, like I've said, like one of the scariest movies I've ever watched of all time was Contagion, which isn't even a scary movie. It's a really good movie.
I thought you were going to say Human Caterpillar or Centipede.
No,
Human Centipede.
No. Like Contagion, not actually a scary movie. It's just a movie about a virus that nearly kills the entire world. But the scenario is a real life. We almost kind of sort of just lived through.
I was going to say, are you sure that wasn't a documentary?
It came out before COVID. So it was, if anything, it was just proving that, like, you know,
foreshadowing.
All of COVID was scripted. But no, like, it was a lot more worse. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Contagion, but it was a lot more worse of a virus than COVID. Like, if you caught it, you were dead within an hour or something like that. It was more on the lines of like a SARS and less on the lines, and like it took out most of the population on the planet, and like that. I like that movie scares me. It's a great movie. It scares me. This movie where it's like a monster is chasing people, I'm like, monsters to me aren't scary because I know they're not real. Like, it doesn't scare me. But, like, if something pops out at me, that's gonna make me jump. And, like, that's, like, the Japanese horror movies don't have a lot of the jump scares.
And see, like, I don't, like, even jump scares don't really scare me usually, so I'm not watching them to be scared. I'm watching them because I think, like, they're usually fun to see, like, what sort of stupid shit people do.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I like the atmospheric and the like, creep factor
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Nice.
I enjoyed it, and I believe, Rich, it would be your pick for the next one.
No, well, somebody's got to pick a category. I picked this category.
I don't have any categories. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Me either.
All right,
I also
give me a
won't be able. I also won't be on the episode for the next book club anyway.
What an asshole!
That week's totally fucked for me.
What an asshole!
All right, let's see. Do we?
You have a
Let's
list.
see.
You have a list of them, Rich. Read your list, and I will pick one.
All right, I'll give you the list of categories.
Actually, before you start, I just want to throw out there. So, just stream of consciousness. I'm like, okay, well, we need to come up with categories. I Googled just the word category.
Okay.
That's it. It's completely useless. The results are absolutely useless.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rich.
Oh, there was something I was thinking about earlier this week that I wanted to see if it was an actor. Who was the actor that I wanted to see if you guys wanted to do another marathon of? I can't remember, and it's gonna drive me nuts. Damn it, I can't remember, and it's gonna drive me nuts. All right, so we have first category, single take films. Second category, I have it like it's one or the other. It can be vampire or modern fantasy movies. Third category, alien or extra-dimensional movies. Third category, biopics. Fourth category, remakes. Fifth category is parody. But the movie for that, well, I technically have two that are under parody, kind of. But the one that I have under parody is a rental, I believe. It's been a while since I checked to see if these are still available, so I don't know if they're still available. But then we can also go for animated, like anime. Yeah, I don't pick a category. Single take, vampire or modern fantasy, alien or extra dimensional.
What the
biopics.
fuck is single? Like, I'm not picking single take.
Like,
can you give me an example though?
Birdman.
That's a single take.
Most of the movie, yeah, it is considered a single take. Or what was the other one? It was a war movie.
Dunkirk is not a single take movie. It has one very long take in it.
But that's what it is. I thought that was a single take. I thought the whole movie was single take.
No, it just has one like 15-minute scene that was a single take. I don't think
1917. 1917 was a single take.
The whole movie.
Yes, that's that. I searched single take, and it was 1917 is a single take. Birdman is a single take. It's on there for Birdman, which could also be considered parody.
Okay, so I guess I looked this up too because I was just confused like how that's even possible. So it looks like 1917 wasn't a single take; it was just a bunch of very long takes.
That's a single take. Like even Birdman, there are cuts. There are cuts in a single take film, but there's still going to be, because they obviously have to cut the film, there are going to be stealth cuts to cut from scene to scene or within mid scenes, but it's still primarily a single take. Most of the movie is a single shot. I've
legitimately never heard that term before. Like I've heard of single takes. I've just never heard it described like that.
I mean, Birdman is a single take movie. Like it is considered that. Like 1917 is considered a single take movie. The rest of these I've never even heard of. I've barely heard of 1917. I think I don't even remember who's on. Is that Benedict Cumberbatch? Like vaguely,
I get that and Dunkirk confused. I think Dunkirk was the Christopher Nolan one.
Yes, Dunkirk is Christopher.
Yeah. So like that's
interesting.
That's
so there's a lot of these. If you look at like there's a Wikipedia for it. There's like a big list of actual one shot. And some of them like they're not short necessarily. Like, there's one from 2021 that's 115 minutes. It's from Argentina, but still 115 minutes. But so it looks like oh wow. So Silent House, which that was like a horror movie from like 2011 with Elizabeth Olsen, is appears as a one shot. Same thing with Birdman 1917. There's literally a movie called One Shot. Yeah.
So that's the movies that I'm looking for in those. But like it's mostly, like I said, it's mostly on there because of Birdman, which could also technically be considered a parody.
Yeah, you know what? I guess like while it is a dark fucking movie, it is also a parody. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But let's do Alien.
Alien? Okay. It's alien or extra dimensional. You can do either. This one kind of fits in as both. I just want to make sure it's still available wherever it would be. No, it might. It's not looking like it's available there anymore. It used to be Paramount. Oh boy, I'm not logged into Paramount on my PC.
What movie?
It is Annihilation. It is the
with what's her face?
Yeah, what's her name?
Natalie Portman.
Yes.
So I've actually seen that before and read the book. That movie's actually really fucking weird, like in a good way.
Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to watch it. Never got to watch it. It was available on Paramount when I made this list a year ago before the strikes. So like this list might be dated with some of them. So I don't think it's available.
I'm trying to actually look at Just Watch, but I can't spell Annihilation. So give me a second. I had to Google it.
Yeah, I mean, Google's saying that it's only available on rentals.
No, it says it's available on Paramount.
Did I just not spell it right? Annihilation.
Is it?
Nope.
So, Cobb, I'm looking at Just Watch. Is it some weird thing where it's only on Paramount Plus on Apple TV?
Oh, maybe. Hang on.
Like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, there is like a
Apple
weird
TV
little
logo.
I have
Paramount
never
Plus.
seen that before.
Yeah, me either.
So what? You have to watch it through Apple TV on Paramount Plus for it to be free. What?
Yeah, apparently. I think it's if you subscribe to Paramount Plus through Apple TV Plus. That's weird. What the fuck is Hoopla?
I don't know, but it's a subscription service. Oh, with your library card.
Yeah. I just signed in with my library account and like I can rent it or borrow it, I guess.
Hoopla? I mean, I have no problem renting the movie.
Well, Drew won't be here for it, so I can apparently borrow it from my library.
Yeah. So that's that. I think that can be you chose the category. I'll choose a movie, and then in 2 weeks you can choose another alien, extra dimensional. Because I guess that fits both categories, right? I only know like they kind of go to a different dimension kind of thing. It's weird. I know.
I mean, extra dimensional is probably the best way to put it. I don't want to spoil anything. It's a super weird movie. It's I want to say it's the same director that did Ex Machina.
I think I saw that in the description.
Same director, Alex Garland.
Yeah, he's done like that guy does like weird movies, but they're usually like well done weird movies.
Oh, he did 28 Days Later. He did Dread. Yeah, Ex Machina. It's this first thing on there, and I completely missed it for Dread and 28 Weeks Later. Yeah. He did Ex Machina, so yeah.
But yeah, I'm good with Annihilation. I liked
Awesome.
that movie.
Awesome.
And I actually, so I just recently read the book, because it's based on a trilogy of books. And I'm actually curious, because we watched the movie quite a while ago, like pre-COVID. I think. It might have been like early COVID.
I mean, it came out in 2018, so it could have been pre-COVID. Could have been like your Halloween or your New Year's movie that year.
Yeah, that's why like it was either like 2019 or like 2020, like early COVID. But like I liked the movie, but apparently like I don't remember it super well. And from what I've heard, like the book and the movie are like they follow the same idea, but they go about it very differently. So I'm actually curious to go back and watch the movie again, having just recently read the book.
Yeah. And I mean, it stars three MCU characters, right? No, Oscar Isaac isn't in the MCU yet.
No, he's in the Fox CU.
Yeah. It stars 3 Marvel actors.
Wait, who is the third one?
Tessa Thompson.
Oh, she is in this. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah, there are quite a few people in these movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. So in 2 weeks, we will watch Annihilation.
Yep.
All right. Well, moving right along, have either of you guys ever heard of this show called Loudermilk?
Nope.
Right.
I was Googling it while you were talking, while we were talking about, I remembered, just so I was like, what the fuck is this? And no, there's too much stuff on Netflix anymore to know what's on Netflix.
So, this was on the AT&T Audience Network, which I've never fucking heard of before. Apparently it launched in 1999 and went defunct in 2020.
Weird.
But so this originally aired on there, and then its third season actually went to Amazon Prime because the third season debuted after the network had gone kaput, but they had already produced the episodes. So Amazon Prime put up like the first 2 seasons, and then like a week later, season 3. And then this past week or two, the 3 seasons went up on Netflix, and it's actually been on like the top viewed stuff on Netflix for a while. But it stars Ron Livingston, who was the main character in the movie Office Space.
Yeah.
And Will Sasso, who is Will Sasso, and he's great.
Will Sasso's great.
Yeah, and then I don't know how to pronounce her name. Anya. I'm assuming it's supposed to be Anya Savic. It's very like European. It's got a J in it and like too many consonants next to each other.
It's definitely Anya, but yeah, Savic. I don't know.
As they're basically all recovering addicts of one sort or another. Ron Livingston was like he was an alcoholic, and he definitely also had a drug issue. Will Sasso, I believe, was just an alcoholic, and Anya, her character, is like 20 years old and is like addicted to like meth and alcohol and a whole bunch of other stuff when they first introduce her. Like, she is actually a train wreck at the beginning. But Ron Livingston's character he's not a deadbeat, but like he's kind of like, he used to be a music critic and like travel with bands and all that stuff, which is part of the reason why he had drug and alcohol issues. And now he's like a night janitor, but he also runs like a sobriety groups, like not AA meetings, but like in that vein of things. But for people with all different addictions, not just alcohol. And he's like one of those guys where like he's like very difficult to deal with, but also like you can tell that like he does care to an extent, because he'll give people like shit, but then like when they actually need help, he will like listen to their problems and like not be a total piece of shit about it. But it's like, it's a very funny show because, you know, like it's a bunch of people that are just trying to like get their shit back together. But they're all kind of assholes at the same time. Not to just to each other for the most part.
Yeah.
One of the kind of ongoing gags, though, like almost every episode has like a cold open where Ron Livingston's character, whose last name is Loudermilk, like goes into somewhere, usually a coffee shop, and just has like the most aggressively difficult conversation with somebody. In one, I think it was the very first episode, he goes up and he opens the door, and like there like a lady's coming up at the same time, and he lets her go in first, but then he gets to the counter first. And this woman just like walks right up and starts ordering, and she's got like a list of 30 coffees she's ordering. He just wants one black coffee, and he's just like, whoa, like I was here first. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And like gets into like an argument with her about like etiquette in a coffee shop. And it was very funny.
Yeah.
And like another episode, the cold open, him and Will Sasso are like driving somewhere. And for whatever reason, like Will Sasso has a convertible, and it's like fucking winter, and they're constantly driving with the top down in Seattle. Like, the fuck are you doing? But they pull over to ask somebody like how far away something is, and the guy answers, well, as the crow flies, it's about 12 miles. And he just spends like 10 minutes like, well, what about like the dog walks? Or like, what if like I turn around and like crab walk there? How long is that going to take me?
Jeez.
Like, yeah, and it's just like 5 minutes of just like berating this guy for saying the most like asinine way of describing how long it'll take to get somewhere.
I mean, as the crow flies, it's 12 miles. Like, that's a straight line, how crow flies. I want to know how I have to drive to get there on the road.
Exactly, and that's why he sits there and, like, basically antagonizes him after that. Like, who says that to somebody when they ask for, like, not directions, but just like, hey, how much further is this place? Like,
well, in a straight line, it's 12 miles, but you got to go about 35 because of the way the American infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you could have said it's about 15 minutes. You could have said, oh, you know, I don't know, maybe like 20 miles from here. Like, but as the crow flies about 12 miles, that's a dick way to respond to something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I feel like this show, Rich, like, because you tend to not like the things where people are just kind of shitty. Like your Parks and or not your Parks and Recs, your Always Sunnies. I feel like this is a sort of show that kind of like walks the line. Like, because he admits every time somebody calls him an asshole, he's like, I am, and I push people away, and I'm difficult. Like, it's not like in that Always Sunny vibe where like they are shitty and they don't understand that they are shitty, and he doesn't go out of his way to make people feel shitty.
Yeah,
but like he's just kind of a dick and will say whatever's on his mind.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a difference. Like Always Sunny, like because pretty much every sitcom consists of generally bad people,
or at least like one person is kind of shitty.
It's hard to like And you got Parks and Rec, which is like, all right, they're all not bad people. Like, that's one of a few sitcoms that you can, like, look at and be like, all right, not all of them are bad, or overall they're not bad. Like, even along the lines of, like, even, like, The Office. He's like, no, they've got some, there's some, like, not great to them. Like, I used to love Friends, and it's like, no, these are all shitty people. They don't know they're shitty, and they don't mean to be shitty, but they're shitty people. And so it's like, it does walk that line of like, all right, they're bad people, but it's just by accident, and it's for comedy, for laughs. Same with How I Met Your Mother. But then, yeah, Always Sunny, it's like, no, they're bad people because they know they're bad people, and they're going out to be bad people. And it's still supposed to be funny. And I'm like, I don't really find that funny. So this is more on the line of like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, like, I feel like this would be one where I think you would enjoy it as, like, one of those, like, shows that you just kind of throw on when you need, like, stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's only 3 seasons, and I want to say they're like 10-episode seasons, so it's not super long. It sounds like if the show does well enough, like, most of the people involved in it would be willing to, like, go back and do another season. But like it's on Netflix now, so that'll probably never happen.
Yeah, Netflix isn't gonna do it because it didn't get Stranger Things now.
Yeah, but like the show does a good job too. Like, as it goes on, of expanding, like. They don't just add new people into the show, like, they just expand the, like, side characters that were there. Kind of like, what The Office did. Like, The Office added people a couple times, but as it got later into the show, it was really like, they just gave some of the other people in The Office more to do.
Yeah.
Like, you saw more of Angela and Oscar and Stanley and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, it does that, where, like, the last couple episodes that we've watched, because we're almost done season 3, they've actually focused on people other than Loudermilk for the majority of it. Like, one episode focused on the one main female character, as she, like, basically went on her first date since getting clean, and, like, having to, like, explain to the person, like, yeah, like, I don't drink and I'm, a recovering addict, and, like, how that goes. And then another one was one of the guys in the support group, like, really fucked his family, like, with his addiction, and, like, now that he's clean, he's, like, trying to get that stuff sorted out, and him, like, kind of, like, dealing with that stuff, which, like, takes it away from, like, the monotony of seeing the same thing over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a good show. A lot of funny moments, especially because, like, these characters a lot of them are, like, older, so, like, they're saying things and then they're almost immediately being called out on it by somebody else, like, hey, asshole, like, at one point, like one of the guys calls a lady a broad. And, like, they're in court at the time, and, like, the judge is just like, fucking excuse me?
Yeah. Yep.
So, like, it knows what it's doing, and, like, it's leaning into some of that stuff in, like a fun way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I happened to see a clip of one of the coffee shop scenes where, I think it was the second season opener, where he goes into a coffee shop, and the girl working at the counter has one of those very, like, I don't give a shit voices, like, I can't even do it right, but, like, well, what do you want sort of thing, like, eyes almost, like, perpetually rolled into the back of her head, and he starts, like, basically, like, antagonizing her by talking in the same voice, and explaining that, like, that's not her real voice, that's just how she's talking, and the only people that talk like that are rich people and, like, something else, and he's like, and judging by the fact that you're working in a coffee shop, you're not fucking rich. And then as he takes his coffee and leaves, she, like, drops that voice and just, like, calls him an asshole. And he just turns around and he's like, see? Was that so hard? You did it. And, like, walks out the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, that looks funny. Like, what show is this? And then turns out it had just gotten added to Netflix. But yeah, it's a fun show. I encourage people to watch it so that, maybe Netflix does something weird and actually, like, produces another season of it.
That would be nice. They're not gonna.
No, they won't.
Nice,
it's Netflix. They never do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, Rich, what is My Friendly Neighborhood?
Before we move on, quick sort of breaking news. They casted Abby for season 2 of The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, that was earlier today, I think, right?
Yeah. Did you see?
Yeah, it's Caitlin Dever from Last Man Standing.
Yeah, she played the middle daughter in Last Man Standing for
youngest daughter.
Yeah, well, yeah, she was the youngest daughter. That's right. It was the middle and the oldest daughter that both got recasted. The youngest daughter just left the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the youngest daughter in Last Man Standing. She was in a bunch of other stuff, but I like the casting. I think she'll do good in the role.
Yeah, she just honestly, like, all she really has to do is probably bulk up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because like
and they
Abby is supposed to be like bigger and tougher,
Yeah.
but like she's not supposed to be like 6'5" or anything like that. So
Yeah.
hopefully people don't like act like shit. Which I mean, it's the internet, so they're going to.
They're gonna. But all right. Back to my thing. Yeah, My Friendly Neighborhood. So, Cobb, I know your favorite video game types are first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't
Combine a first-person shooter, but turn it into a survival horror video game. Kind of like on the lines of maybe Resident Evil 7 and 8. More Resident Evil 7, but instead of having the setting in the bayous of Louisiana, place it in the middle of a city, and instead of spore-based zombies, it's felt Muppets.
I think I've heard of this. Have you talked about this before?
Probably last week, if anything. No, it came out last year, and it's a small team or small developer. It might have only even been one person. I don't know. But it came out last year. It is My Friendly Neighborhood. It is a first-person survival horror. I thought it was supposed to be survival, spooky, scary game, but it does give that slight atmosphere of spooky. Just not because it's dark and ominous. It's a very bright game, and it's very well lit. But the things that are getting to me are the Muppets will just stand there until you cross their path. And they'll be shaking around and flying around and just talking and saying some of their lines from the show that was called My Friendly Neighborhood that they're based off of. So this game takes place in a world similar to the Muppets movies worlds where the Muppets are real.
Okay.
And they're actual beings in these worlds. These creatures, these My Friendly Neighborhood creatures, turned out to be real somehow. I don't know if maybe they're animatronic, but they have a mind of their own. And so they had their own show, that made spin-off movies just like the Muppets, and eventually just it fell apart and it wasn't as good anymore. And so their production studio shut down, they closed the gates, they turned off the antenna. In the beginning of the movie, or beginning of the show, or the game, man, I'm bad at this, the antenna happens to turn on, and it starts broadcasting the original show over all the airwaves. So you are hired to go turn off the antennas to have it to stop broadcasting. And you find these special weapons that basically shoot letters that were made to shoot letters off of a Rolodex to be used for special effects of the show because it's an educational TV show. So instead of CG putting the letter R on TV, somebody would shoot this Rolodex gun and the letter R would come out and burst out onto the TV or whatever. It's so dumb, but I love it. And then all of the weapons are something like that. Like the shotgun, you wound up a bunch of the Rolodex letters into a single shot. Or the grenade is you bundle up a bunch and you throw them and stuff like that. It's really dumb. But it gives me, it's like Resident Evil crossed with BioShock, but goofy, but also sort of scary.
I like Resident Evil crossed with BioShock, but goofy.
Yeah, because it has that Resident Evil style mapping where you go, you have to find the map, you have to manage your inventory to make sure that you have the space and move things around to make sure you can carry things. It has that Resident Evil feel, but it also the look of it, because even BioShock still had this little bit of a nostalgic look and older look because it took place in an era that was stuck in the 60s and 70s or whatever, 50s. It has that kind of feel and that look, and even the monsters, they're not too scary, but they're the way they act is what's off-putting about it. There were a few jump scares, and it's a movie that, or not a movie, it's a game that sort of is a not a mockery, but a parody of the Muppets. I've so far encountered a giant bird enemy, Big Bird. I've encountered a grumpy sewer plumber, Oscar the Grouch.
Okay.
And I've encountered Goblet, which is a giant frog-like creature that eats everything. So maybe take Kermit the Frog and mix him with Sweetums kind of thing. And it's just like you go around, you're trying to get keys to open doors, to solve puzzles, to find more keys to open doors, to solve more puzzles, to get to the antenna to turn it off. I was expecting the game I think I read that it was only supposed to be like 6 hours long. I played for about 3.5, and I'm like maybe halfway through, so like it might be online of how long it takes. But like I was a little let down because it wasn't actually very scary. I was expecting more of like a Five Nights at Freddy's or like that Tattletale game I played a few weeks ago. But no, this is like, it's an actual full-on game, but they're still trying to do the mascot horror style. And like I said, I think it is one developer. I think it's at least a small developer, because like you can go on to their Steam store page and look at the comments, and you can see like the developer responding like, yeah, I'm sorry, I was working on that, or if you can get back in touch with me, I can fix that for you. Like, we just patched that out, but I can fix it for you. Like, I've seen some comments on some like Discord, or maybe more like Reddit information, where it's like like one of the developers being like, yeah, we fixed this, and I'm sorry that this happened to you. If you can get me, if you didn't already save out of your save, I can fix it for you. And like, I can rewrite your save so that it's how it's supposed to be. Because like, one of the things that somebody accidentally did was, unlike in Resident Evil, when you're done with a key, it'll tell you, you're done with the key, you can discard it. You can discard a key whenever you want. But the game will tell you, like, you're not done with it yet if you go to discard it. Somebody accidentally discarded a key before they were done with it. And so they got, like, kind of locked in place. So they patched that out, but then the developer was like, hey, we actually just fixed this. But they had already saved over their save, or wiped their save.
Okay.
John Zemansky is the developer. It's just two guys, John Zemansky and Evan Szymanski. Szymanski. So it's just two guys that made this game, and it's really good. It's fun. It's silly. Cobb, honestly, I think you might enjoy it just because it is like, it's a little horror-y, but it's also just silly and kind of scary, but not super scary, but just fun. And it does do survival horror in the aspect of, like, you want to manage your supplies very well. I'm playing actually on survival difficulty, which is like the harder difficulty. So it's like normal and then survival. And like, I'm having a little bit of a tough time. Enemies take a few hits to kill, but it's like, that's supposed to be like your resources are more uncommon, but I haven't had too hard of a time. There hasn't been many times that I was like really low on ammo. And I just defeated my first boss, which was like, all right, this is fun. This is silly. And yeah, it's a good game. It's very fun. And I'm super excited to see the lore. And hope that like maybe they can turn something out of this more than just the one game. There's a demo. You can also play a demo on Steam. So
I was gonna say, it's a bummer it's only on PC.
I thought it was on... I mean, you could probably play it on your Steam Deck.
Maybe. I wonder if it's supported.
I'm sure it's supported.
Also, the Steam Deck has basically been owned by Erica because she has a bunch of those like sim games that she plays, and I don't want to interrupt her. She's been swapping between there was a newer one, Spirit Tea, yeah. That she's been playing, plus Slime Rancher 2.
Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of good things about Slime Rancher.
She played the first one a bit, and I got her 2 for Christmas, and she has been just going crazy with it.
I mean, it's got full Xbox controller support, so
it is Steam Deck verified.
Yeah, so you can definitely play it on Steam Deck. I thought it was on a console as well, but I mean, it makes sense if it's a game made from just two brothers, like that it would be Steam only for now. But yeah, it came out last year, and it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you have love or fondness of the Muppets. It's not too long of a game, sub 10 hours. But it's worth the price. I think I also got it on sale when I bought it. But it's like $30, and there's like a horde mode and things like that after you beat the game that you can go into, and a bunch of other stuff. I'm gonna play it again later this month after I get through my other sub reward streams, but it's definitely something to like just sit back and like I said, I was expecting like super scary. I was expecting like a Five Nights at Freddy's like like mascot horror, but no, this is more like it leans more on the lines of a survival horror and less on the lines of a horror in general. Which is weird to say because it's got horror in it, but it's like the survival horror is like it's got some scary, but it's more about like the resource management. Which is where this is, like the resource management, like having to make sure you have the ammo to do whatever you need to do, but recognizing when you do or don't have to kill enemies because you don't want to waste the ammo and things like that as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Definitely check it out. My Friendly Neighborhood. I think both of you should play it. Both of you should play it.
It is also kind of expensive.
It's only $30.
That's a lot of money for a game. That's a lot of money for a game that I'll probably play once, I should say.
Yeah, but it's still, where is it at? Where do you purchase history? View purchase history. Let's see. I mean, I got it on sale. It was 23, so it was $25 when I got it on sale. Because I bought that January 2nd. I bought that with some other things with next month's spooky game for stream that I can't wait to play.
Was that supposed to be this month's spooky game?
So yeah, My Friendly Neighborhood is this month's spooky game for reaching 10 subs. Next month's spooky game for reaching 10 subs is gonna be I'll say it. It's the Dead by Daylight dating sim.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
Because it's February and it's Valentine's Day.
And you're finally doing the thing that Drew and I suggested and getting into the wonderful world of dating sims.
No. I mean, it's listed as a horror game, though, so I don't know how it is. I've never played it.
I'm just saying, man, I feel like you would get a lot of views if you just leaned into RPGs and dating sims.
No, I'm not gonna lean into the dating sims. Definitely not. And
become the dating sim guy on Twitch.
No, because most of those require a lot of reading, and I don't want to do that.
But like, you can do voices. Like, it'll be great.
No, I know. Trust me. There's a reason why it's spooky games only once a month. I mean, I also did change my retro rewards. We're not doing retros anymore. It's now Lethal Company for 5 subs. And so that's going to add a little bit to the spookiness of doing spooky streams, because Lethal Company can be a little ridiculous and spooky sometimes.
I'm disappointed.
Why?
Disappointed in streams that I never got a chance to watch. Not happening.
I mean, you could just do them yourselves.
I don't stream.
It's easy. You could easily stream.
I know I could. I just don't want to.
I'm just saying, if you could be the Dead by Daylight or the dating sim streamer and show me how good that will make you, show me how much better your stream will be by just doing dating sims and surpass me. That's the word I'm looking for. Surpass me in streaming by doing just dating sims.
But then I would feel bad because you put so much work into it, and for me to surpass you.
I mean, you're still putting a lot of work into it, so it would be worth. Like, I wouldn't be mad because you put work into it.
We both know I would half-ass it.
Yeah, I know. But still,
like, there would be no work put into it.
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't have like any of the fancy stuff that you have. Like, there'd be no lighting. There'd be no video. It would just be the game.
I mean, you don't have to have video.
Well, there would be no audio either. Like, it would literally just be the game.
I mean, there's people out there that do that. It doesn't work very well, but there's people out there that do that.
Yeah, like I never got that. Like, why stream if like you're not going to like engage? I guess. I mean, I was talking to my brother like a year or so ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I thought about trying to stream in, but then like if people come on and want to talk, I'm not going to want to talk." And I'm like, "Well, that could be your personality. That could just be like, look, guy, I'm just here to play the game. You can chat if you want." But I'm like, it'll be very slow to grow, but that could be your personality. Like, some people might watch that. I mean, that's true. Weird. Like, there are absolutely people out there that like they don't want to watch something for like the creator. They want to just see the game because maybe they can't afford it or do it themselves.
Yeah.
So I guess like that's not the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have zero interest in streaming. That just doesn't sound like fun to me.
Sometimes it isn't. But most of the times it is.
Yeah, like I've seen you do it enough. Like you generally look like you're at least having fun while you're doing it.
I try.
As long as you're not playing a game that you hate.
Sure.
If you're playing a game that you're not having fun with, it's a different story. But like if you're playing something that you're even mildly enjoying, like you do seem to have a good time with it.
Yeah.
But anything else you want to say about My Friendly Neighborhood?
No. I'll have an update of beating it or something like that in a few weeks, maybe. But no more to talk about with that. It's a silly, fun game.
I
If
mean,
you like the Muppets, you should like it.
it does sound cool. Like, I might actually just try the demo just to see like what it's like. But like for me, like $30 for like a first person shooter on like PC it's just unfortunately one of those things. Like, I'll play it once and be like, oh, this is really cool, and then just forget to ever play it again. Because that is what happens with me in PC games unless they really, really click for me.
I get it.
I mean, hell, I bought Baldur's Gate 3 because I thought it looked really fucking cool. That was $70, and I played it for less than 10 hours. Because it's not even like I don't want to play it. I just forget that it's there when I can play it. Because, like, the PC is just not the thing I think about.
You'll beat this when by the time you beat this, Baldur's Gate 6 will be out. Like, that's how long this game will take you to beat.
Exactly.
That assumes they're going to make a Baldur's Gate 4 in less time than it was between 2 and 3.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, though. Like,
no, that's how long it would take me to finish it.
Yeah, like, it's saying that if they do more Baldur's Gates, like, he's never going to beat this game, is what I'm saying. Like, it's taking me... Where are we at so far? Hold on, let me open the Steam. And get there. Where is it at? Baldur's Gate 3. 100.2 hours in this game, and I have not beaten it yet.
Yeah, I mean, if Cobb got into it, I think he would play 100 hours in less than 23 years.
Oh, yeah. And, like, if I had picked it up on, like, a different platform, I probably would have played a bunch more of it. But, like, what I was saying, like, it just seemed like people were saying, like, the PC version just played better. And I'm like, okay, cool, and it's Steam Deck compatible, so, like, I'll play it there. But then it's just, I never think to pick up the Steam Deck when, like, Erica isn't using it. It's like one of those, like, out of sight, out of mind things.
Looks like it's time for a second Steam Deck. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, no, because I still won't think to pick it up. It'll just sit there and the battery will keep dying. Yeah. See, the problem is the Steam Deck doesn't come with like a dock that I can just put next to the TV and know that, oh yeah, that's right, the Steam Deck's a thing. Because even...
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like excuses.
No, I mean, it totally is. It's just like the PlayStation and the Xbox are right under the TV. The Steam Deck is not, and I don't spend any time on my PC that I'm not working.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just PC games are like I look at Steam, I'm like, oh, that game's great, and it's on sale. I'm like, you know what though? Why am I going to spend $30 on a game that's usually $60 if I'm never going to play it? Like, I might as well just spend the $60 for it on Xbox or PlayStation. Because at least then I will get the playtime out of it. But yeah, I guess the last thing we have, I read a book last week. Actually, Rich, did you start your Sea of Thieves, right? Yeah.
I'm like 3 chapters in. I'm not far in at all. So.
But you started it, is the thing.
Yeah, I did start it. I read 2 chapters on Friday and then sat down to read it on Saturday after doing all of my editing and started to fall asleep. I was just exhausted. So like I read a chapter while I was falling asleep and it was like 7 o'clock. And so I stopped reading and just watched TV and vegged out.
That's always the worst when like you do want to read something, but you're just too tired to like actually focus on it.
I was too tired to read, but like it wasn't too tired to go to bed. It was one of those like limbos of like I'm too tired to do this thing that I want to do, but it's still like it's too early and I'm not too tired to actually like do what I should do, which is go to bed with how tired I am.
Yeah, like reading and games are like that active entertainment. Like you're not just sitting there like getting it through osmosis. Like TV you can put on and no matter how tired you are, you're just staring at it. Like you're not reading the words, you're not moving the characters. Like it's just there. You can zone out if you want and like zone back in. Like it's not a big deal. But like if you zone out while reading and like you're still like turning the pages, you just don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that happened to me the other day. Like there's I was reading something and I managed to get through 1 chapter, but like they're short chapters. I'm like, oh, I'll read a couple chapters. I'm like, no, you know what? I'm very tired. I am not going to do that. I'm just going to sit here and watch TV.
Yeah, like I literally read the same paragraph 2 or 3 times because it's like, wait, what? And I remember even sitting down to read on Friday. There was I read through like the first 2 pages like twice, just because there was a character they introduced that like their name is Marcia, but I assumed like maybe they were using surname for them, and they never gendered this person. And so like when they were talking, I kept giving them more of a like a feminine name because her name is Marcia. And so, like, I was like, oh, this is more of a feminine person. I'm like, wait, is it? And then I got myself confused, and I read through, like, the first 2 pages twice to see if they ever do gender that person, and they don't until, like, 2 pages later, where it's like, they gender her, and then a character's like, oh my god, she's a girl. And it's like, you've been traveling together for, like, months on the sea. Like, how did you not know? It's like, oh, women aren't supposed to be sailors. And it's like, oh, or women aren't supposed to be pirates. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know why they were, like, keeping her gender from you.
Okay, then.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had to go. But it was one of those things where it's like, I was tired reading, and I'm like, wait, I'm confused. Did they do this? Did they say this? And I had to go back a few times, and it was, oh, now I understand what's going on. That's why they did it that way.
All right, then. Well, once you actually, like, get into it, you'll have to let us know if it's actually any good.
Yeah, I'll talk about it once I'm done.
You better.
I will.
But yeah, so I read something called Sky's End by Marc J Gregson.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a book.
Yeah, it's a book. It's a YA like fantasy book. It's got so I saw somebody actually say that they got early Attack on Titan vibes from it, which I didn't get, but I can see where it came from. So it's in a world where like everyone's on like islands like way up in the sky. I didn't quite get if like the islands were like mountains that were just like way into the clouds, or if it was something like Xenoblade where like you're literally on the backs of giant like things floating through the sky. But there are these giant dragon-like creatures that are made of metal, like they're covered in metal, I should say. They're not made of metal, that just terrorize everyone. And there are hunters that are trained to go out on airships and fight them and kill them and harvest them, because they use, you know, like the metal on their outside for things. They use like their meat and stuff for food. The way that these things fly is with basically like a helium or something like that. Like they just call it lift gas in the book. So like they harvest like the gas sacks to use that for their ships to fly. And so the book follows like a teenager named Conrad, who he was originally like the heir to one of like the highest families, like just south of the king, basically. And his father died, and when his uncle took over, basically kicked him and his mother out to basically become like homeless, like lowest of the lows. And the book kind of follows him as he enters this academy where you're trained to be a hunter, and like works his way up to become a hunter and to ideally become a captain, where like he gets control of a ship and is basically like as high as you can go without like being part of like a noble family, which he is. So this was kind of like his way of like getting back to that point. But it was a fun read. Kind of predictable in a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot of characters that as they're introducing characters and like you get your first few interaction with them, you're like, okay, well that's going to be the friend that like is just kind of like reliable the whole time. That's going to be the person that becomes a friend later on after the main character does something to like earn their trust or help them or save them or something. That's like the antagonist guy that he's either going to end up becoming an ally or he's going to die. Like one or the other.
Yeah.
And like, oh, and there's the kid who's actually like super shitty, but he's pretending to not be. Like, you can kind of pick out all that stuff. But a couple of the twists are like unexpected, which is nice. And I should also say this book just came out at the beginning. Like it came out on like the first or the second. So it's like brand new. It's the author's like first book, and it's the first in like a trilogy called Above the Black. And by the end of it, like I was fully like invested just to kind of see like where they're going, because it goes from this they're training to hunt monsters to, oh, there's like a war brewing that like you don't really know about until, I don't know, the last 5 chapters. So like it definitely like it finishes the main narrative that it was working on through most of it, and like your main character kind of like gets what he wanted out of this book, and then it's just like, oh wait, but we have more to do, and we're gonna just open things up a whole bunch now. So there's going to be way more in book 2 that did not even get hinted at in this book. But yeah, it was a fun read. It was a lot early on of sort of training stuff, because like they're in the school, so they have they basically have like an anime tournament at one point where they all have to fight each other to determine who gets to be a captain for their basically their final exams. Are they each get set up on an 8-person team, and they get sent out on one of the airships like without any adult supervision, and they just have to kill as many of these giant monsters as they can without dying themselves. And if they die, it's like they're just kind of like written off as like an expense, because who cares? Like, other people will enroll next time. And like the big thing is, if you win the competition, the captain of that particular ship gets to keep that ship for a year and go about their business, and they don't have to basically go enter the draft and get drafted onto like a senior hunters group. They get to just, they can keep their existing team. They can go like draft a new one if they want to. Like they're set up to go for a year before they have to return that ship and either go join somebody's or ideally have earned enough money to buy a ship. So like while they're on this like final exam thing, that's the whole idea, is like we need to win so that we can like have a ship. But they also build into the competition that mutiny is okay. So the whole idea is like, just because you start as the captain doesn't mean you're going to end as the captain. And so they're out there for 2 months, and every captain has a week or 7. It was either 5 days or 7 days that like they couldn't be mutinied. But after that, it's free game. Like the only stipulation was it had to be like a majority vote. So it wasn't like mutiny, like you kill the other person and you get their spot. They're very strict about like you don't hurt each other. But yeah, so like in the book, there's constantly talks of like, all right, what do I have to do to prove myself so that like if I get captain, like they don't just immediately fucking boot me out of it, which like added a little like something to it, because while you expect that to happen at least once, you never know if like the author is gonna like throw it in there multiple times as like well, we're gonna do this again as like a curveball for you. But overall, like definitely enjoyed it. I'm hoping that it doesn't take like too long for the sequels to come out, because it ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, and I'd like to see where it goes. Yeah.
Nice. I get that. I apparently you can read the whole book for free on Google Books or something.
Really?
I mean, I looked it up. I don't think you can actually read it for free. It lets you preview the book.
Oh.
But like I literally can go through all 46 chapters and read the book. Some pages are omitted from the book preview. There we go.
Okay. That's interesting though.
So it's like, yeah, I can go to chapter 46 and read it, but then halfway through it just cuts off pages. I'm like, that's weird. Yeah,
that is kind of like, that's a weird way to do a sample. Like Amazon usually lets you read like a chapter, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe even a couple chapters if it's a long enough book. It's like I have definitely used that before. Like, so like sometimes books, like there's just so many characters and so many names that they literally have like a glossary of all the people at the beginning of it. And I have definitely used that instead of having to like swap back and forth in the book actively. I'll just open up the Amazon listing and open up the preview. Like on my phone when I'm reading on like my Kindle or something like that. And then just look at the contents there to see like who the people are. But yeah, that is weird. That is a weird thing for Google to do.
It is.
But yeah, definitely recommend it if you like, fantasy, especially fantasy that's kind of the battle royale, kind of like anyone could die and definitely people will die style. This one's neat, and it's not like that dystopian future sort of thing. Like, it's a world, and like that world mostly works, but occasionally like these giant fucking metal monsters come and fucking attack and eat people.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's got one of those like the author did a good job of making the world feel like it had a history, even though like it's a brand new like first book in a series. Like everything feels lived in. Like stuff's happened in this place, and it's not just like I'm just making it up as I go. Like he definitely put like time and thought into like the world building before he like really got the story going.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably gonna do it. Unless either of you guys have anything else.
No,
nothing here. No.
Cool. Well, in that case, in 2 weeks we're going to be talking about Annihilation for our next book club. So that'll be fun. And then otherwise, if you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All those things help. You could also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Twitter and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what does your streaming look like this week?
Twitch.tv/B_Walnuts for video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Next week, more Baldur's Gate. And there will be a retro stream probably on Tuesday next week. I haven't fully decided my full-on schedule, but I think I'm off on Monday. So I'm going to do a long stream on Monday. For Baldur's Gate. So Tuesday will probably be a retro stream. And then, normal things. Thursdays always see Thieves. Check it all out when you get a chance.
Nice. And with that, we'll be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See you.
Bye.